I just discovered something that kind of blew my mind. There's actually a relative of yours that can go by two different names. This is just crazy. Let's talk about that today, okay? Hi, fellow roadie. Thanks for joining me again today. It just means so much for me to have you here. Thanks again. Hey, listen, I mentioned that there's two different names that we can call one of your relatives or ancestors, whichever one you want to call them. It's actually your grandfather's brother. Now, it doesn't have to be a grandfather, it could be grandmother. I'm just trying to make it simple. You can call your grandfather's brother either your granduncle or your great uncle. Isn't that crazy? And that seems to actually be very much true. Let me show you this. Okay, on the left, you see two different definitions from the Merriam-Webster Dictionary online. I looked up granduncle. It's a noun, okay, an uncle of one's father or mother, which would be one of your grandfather's siblings. And it doesn't give any reference to great uncle there. But then if you go in that same dictionary and you look up great uncle, it gives you as a synonym granduncle. Wanted to double check this on another one. I went to the Oxford English Dictionary online. Oh my, yes, Oxford, oh yes. And I looked up granduncle, a father's or mother's uncle, or a great uncle. So it's true that you can call that person either a granduncle or great uncle. Now, to me, that's just kind of crazy. That would be like calling your grandfather either your grandfather or your great father. We don't do that. We don't do that with any other person other than this one. So why are we doing that in this language? I just don't know. But hey, here's a quote from a book I may be reviewing actually pretty soon. It's from Drew Smith, his book called Generation by Generation. He said, one form is not more technically correct than the other. As a genealogist, pick the one you like and stick with it. Consistency is a virtue in genealogy. And you know what? I think Drew put it in a very great way. But, I looked and I couldn't find it again. But several months ago, I saw on the Ancestry.com blog that they suggested that to keep things simple, you just call your grandfather's brother your granduncle, your great grandfather's brother your great uncle. You see how it matches up like that? It would seem to make it a lot easier, right? Yeah, I thought so too. Now, you don't have to do it that way, but I thought, well, let me check in my Roots Magic genealogy software. Most genealogy software, most of the major ones, have a relationship calculator. So you can plug in two people and see how they're related to each other. So I did that with me and my grandfather's brother. And it said that that guy is my granduncle. And then I plugged in my great grandfather's brother and told it to give me the relationship, and it called him my great uncle. So it's following what Ancestry.com suggests for that. Now, I'd be interested to know, in the comments down below, tell me what you called them in your family. Now, as far as I go, I don't know that I ever met any of these people. I remember a couple times maybe my mother or father referring to their aunt or uncle. Did I ever meet them? I I think probably I did at a funeral, like my grandparents' funerals, maybe even my parents' funerals. But I think they were always introduced as how they were related to my parents, not how they were related to me. So it's like Drew said, pick one or the other. But I would try to stay consistent with your genealogy software, because your genealogy software is going to name them what they name them. But I think what they name them, at least in Roots Magic, is consistent with the advice that the Ancestry.com blog gave. And it's easier that way. Your grandparents, it's a granduncle, your great grandparents, it's your great uncle. So I would go with that, even though it's just crazy that you could really, genuinely, officially use either name for that person. Wow, something else, huh? And let me know if you've known about this. Do that in the comments down below too, because I felt kind of crazy because I've been doing genealogy for over 40 years now, and man, that's the first time I've ever heard of this. So let me know what you think about that, and we'll see you next time on the road to your family history.